bitches, every city in my tribe. Look behind. Booty dominate the world, peaches
I
right.
think this
Yes,
Pakt
you
K
should be.
is one of them.
Which one?
Welcome.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
So I guess I'll just kind of go off what that dude was saying, or what you guys were saying when I like first came in. So you guys were talking about like how abortion isn't affordable, right? So $700 to $1,000.
Yeah.
Think about how much a man has to pay in child support if a woman decides to keep it and they're separated.
Okay.
So how come society will go and hold men to that standard, right? So for example, I'm 30. The reason I've never had kids is because I know the financial responsibility that carries with becoming a father. I know that if I didn't stay with a woman or if I wasn't connected to that woman for the rest of
Well,
my life,
I'm
that I
sorry, I
would
don't mean
be,
to interrupt you, but let me just say, if a man says early on in the pregnancy that he does not want to be a father, I do think that he should have the right to rescind his parental rights and opt out of child support.
but that's not the way it
So
works. That's not
if
reality
you
though.
want to advocate for that, it really depends. On some states, that is a
No,
thing. So if you want to advocate
child
for
support is
equal rights for
unanimous.
men in that sense, I would be all for that.
I want to advocate for accountability for women and to stop being coddled and treated like society, like some fragile little,
Coddled?
yes.
Wow.
Because for example, I'm responsible for 18 years of child support if she decides to keep it, right? But
I already told you
yet
that
women want
I
to
don't
complain.
support that ideology, and if
Okay,
you don't either, then you should be advocating for men's rights in the court system when it comes to parental rights,
okay, so let
That
me
is
not
finish
to
where
not.
I'm
take
going. So
away
let
reproductive
me finish where I'm
rights
going.
for women. Okay, go ahead.
I'm not trying to take away reproductive rights. I'm trying to say that it's like women are being coddled and treated like some fragile little beings that can't, create a payment plan. It's $700 to $1,000. It's like why can they not go and pay that off over time if they want to go and terminate a pregnancy and
I didn't make that argument. He was
okay.
just bringing up that the guest
So
before didn't know abortion prices.
what about the
Because
what about
an
the argument of
abortion is a
personal
health. It's
responsibility?
it's health
It's
care.
not healthcare.
It
It's
is
not.
health care.
It's not life
It is.
saving.
It is.
It's not.
It
You
It's
will
a
it
not
can be.
die.
medical
It can
It's
procedure.
be
It's
not.
life-saving.
medical.
It can be, and I agree
Yes.
for abortion. I
So
will
in
put the
your
I will
sentence,
put.
only
So
healthcare?
you're using one thing as a gateway to go and
No,
answer because
not at all.
even Republican legislators agree that the life of a living, breathing person with an existence and a whole story to them outweighs the potential risks of you can't force somebody to go and risk that.
What?
That and what do you mean? Okay, is that hard to grasp? That even Republicans, like
No, I don't
most
think you
modern,
explained it well.
most conservatives agree that if the mother's going to die or at risk of dying for the birth, that the abortion is justified, or
Great.
that in cases of rape and incest, that it's justified. They don't want to take that away.
Great.
So
Yeah.
you're using very specific instances to
No,
justify.
I wasn't. I was bringing up a talking point against your argument.
Okay, so let's see, against purity culture. So you're against abstinence. So you view personal responsibility as
I'm
something
not against
unattainable.
abstinence. If
No,
someone
no.
wants to remain abstinent, that is fine. But I
That's their
don't think we
choice. But
should be
pushing it on other people.
determining someone's value based on their purity.
I think maybe it should be instilling common sense into people and like the consequences of life and reproduction. Because I'm
That
not
it's
even
Okay,
just,
pro.
so
you are
I'm
dehumanizing
I'm I'm
sex.
I'm nuanced between the pro-choice and uh okay, I want to say that society nowadays has conflated pro-choice with pro-abortion, and it's absolutely disgusting that they're trying to go and rid all the consequences of making what is objectively a morally wrong decision, and
What
they're
is
trying to
objective
go
about it?
what's objectively wrong about, being selfish and seeking pleasure than accidentally creating a life?
Oh my God,
oh
dude,
my God.
you are so self-righteous and problematic.
How is that so self-righteous and problematic? It's the truth.
Okay.
You
You can
create a life.
consent
If
to
you
sex without
create a life,
consenting to pregnancy. I've said this like 3 times in the
You
slide.
are dehumanizing sex. You are essentially
how am
for
I
punishing
dehumanizing
women.
sex? You're actually dehumanizing sex because it's for reproductive purposes.
It is not for
No,
reproductive
sex
purposes. It is
has
for pleasure.
3 purposes.
No, it's not.
It has a biological, a psychological, and a social purpose. And you are simply reducing it to biological. Humans are social creatures.
Biological supersedes any other perception.
It
Like
does
that's what
not. I don't know what you're
that
talking about.
so
Supersedes. I would argue more people have sex for emotional intimacy and pleasure than they do for procreation.
but the purpose of it is for procreation.
It is not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
You are just
So
reducing
so
it to
then
a
so then
biological
why
function. So
so
you
we
are
know
taking out all of the human elements because humans are social creatures and they have the psychological brain power for it to be connected to emotions. And
but
you
they
just
can't but
saying
okay,
it
so
is a
they have
biological
they have the
processes.
psychological
You
brain
are
power, but
reducing it the
they
same
can't be
to
personally
animals.
responsible to avoid pregnancy when there's contraceptives that are easily accessible out there.
51%
Okay, so
of
again,
Condoms being
abortions,
99.1%
they're not
effective.
99%.
Yes, they are if used properly. And
Source.
if you're what do you mean?
What is your source? Because my source is the Pregnancy Association, which marks it at 84%.
Okay.
Okay, I can tell
Probably.
you that people that are using contraceptives and they're on birth control, you can still get pregnant. And by the way,
Yes.
a lot of men will refuse to
A
wear
lot
a
of dumb
condom.
people
And I don't know if
exist.
you're aware that a lot of men will just say, "Oh, I'm not going to wear a
See,
condom,"
and
and they
that's
don't want to
why
wear
you
it.
are problematic, is because of your position. You've been on here shaming. You're
What?
dehumanizing sex. Like, that is why, I
Shaming?
mean, you really, yes.
Shaming. Are you
Yes.
trying to
and
go
they
in?
don't
Are you
use the
trying to
right words
are you trying
though.
to paint me as a bad person now because I believe in valuing human
No, I'm
life
just
and
calling you on your shit.
respect? But you're the good person because you believe in chasing
I'm not
pleasure.
saying that
And
at all.
if you accidentally create a human life, you're the morally great person for killing that life.
I'm not saying that at all.
We're not killing a human life.
Jesus.
Abortion's wrong. It is
It's
Abortion is
not
wrong.
wrong.
moral.
Abortion is killing a human life. That's what it is.
Is there
Objectively,
anything?
you can okay, what is, let me guess, a fetus is a parasite. What happens if you leave that fetus alone? What happens if you
It
go and
will
you
die.
nurture no, whoa.
Yes, if you
If
leave
I
a
cut it
fetus
off
alone,
from
it
my
will die.
bodily
Don't
You have
create
autonomy, it'll die.
you'll die
flaming.
too. You'll die too because you have to be
Oh my
feeding yourself.
God. You know what? If you're not here to listen, you can go, dude. Like,
Okay, so how would a fetus die if
hey,
if
did
one's
you look up
responsible
that
for the
source about
if
your condoms? Because
yeah,
don't think you haven't.
it says 85% effective. Okay, it says I
Wow,
found
is
another
that
source.
not
What about
99?
that
Hold on. I
15%?
found another source right here. And it says if you use a condom every time, it has a 98% theoretical effective rate preventing
Oh,
Condoms
theoretical.
pregnancy.
break.
Great.
Condoms fail. People don't use
Okay, hold
condoms
on.
right.
Hold
Some
on.
people don't want to
Hold
wear a
on.
condom at
So, can I
all.
finish it real quick? So, it says
Sure.
what your stat was referring to is if people do not know how to correctly use condoms. You have to pinch the tip of a condom or else it'll burst.
Okay, so are you going to go
So,
All
tell
right.
every single man in the world how to use a condom correctly so that we don't have
I
to get
mean,
abortions anymore?
that would be ideal. I mean, it falls under personal
Yeah.
So maybe
responsibility.
you should start educating people in the
We tell
sex
people
education
who drive
because the
cars to
sex
use
education
seatbelts how to
system is so
drive.
bad. So I'm assuming that you as a pro-lifer are advocating for
I'm not a
more.
pro-lifer. I'm a pro-choice person, and then pro-choice is
You're
conflated as I am pro-choice.
okay. So if you're pro-choice,
I don't think abortion's right. I think it should be avoided and it should be a last resort. But I think that there's a conflation between pro-abortion and pro-choice. It used to
okay,
be safe, accessible, and affordable under the Clinton administration. Now it's abortion is healthcare. Abortion is not wrong. Abortion saves women's lives. Like
it does.
that's pure selfishness. No, it doesn't.
Not
It
selfish.
literally it has severe moral consequences. And what's happening is women that have had abortions know the wrong decision that they made and how they were
Okay,
selfish and
so you're
irresponsible.
shaming
They were
women for
selfish.
having
They were
abortions. I'm
selfish and
sorry.
irresponsible. Hold on. They were selfish and irresponsible. So they know the wrong decision that they made.
Okay, so you're
and
shaming women
what they
for
try.
having
Could I
sex
finish?
and
Could I
getting
finish speaking? Could I finish
Sure.
speaking real quick?
Yep.
So they know
Give
the
it some
mistake that they
misogyny,
made.
bro.
But if you convince more people to make the mistake with you, if everybody's doing something wrong, that doesn't make it wrong. That's what it is. It's evil. You're trying to go and guide young women towards making a mistake, and that's why it's evil.
What is the mistake?
That's the most
What
fucked
is
up
the
part.
mistake?
The mistake is not being responsible with your own body and your own reproductive system.
What is the mistake?
The mistake is creating a human life on accident and accidentally bringing a
By
life
having
into this
sex.
world. Because, okay,
Correct?
natural.
So are you shaming people for having sex?
Shaming people for having sex? I'm shaming people for being irresponsible having sex.
How is it irresponsible?
You could have sex.
You
could have sex. I've had sex quite a bit of times. It's not that hard.
Shocker.
It's actually it's harder. You're so funny. It's harder to have children than it is to, avoid them. People struggle to have kids. You have to be literally careless, reckless, and irresponsible to have kids.
Wow.
It's true. You have nothing to say.
No, 51% of abortions are due to failed contraceptives.
According to who?
Gutmocker.org.
Your source? What's it called?
Gutmocker.org. And then it's actually
Gutmocker?
down from 54%. Yes.
So the failed contraception is the rate of failed contraception is 51%.
51% of abortions are due to failed contraceptives.
So half of the abortions that people get are because of failed contraceptives that you're saying are working perfectly for you. Well,
They
that's
are.
great for you. Doesn't actually
They work
for
perfect.
everyone.
They work perfectly for most people who know to use them.
Well, clearly not for the 50% of women who
Right,
had to get
so I'm
maybe
looking
maybe
for
people
even
maybe
more
if you can't
comprehensive
responsibly
sex
do the
education.
deed, you shouldn't be doing it.
So then
Again,
you're advocating
so if you
advocating
don't
for better
want
sex
to-
education then, right?
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Okay, well then
So,
In
but
high
if
we don't
you
have a
don't
good
want
sex
to,
education,
Jules, one
unfortunately.
sec. Jules, one sec.
Sorry.
I mean, I learned how to do it in high
If you don't want
school.
to be pregnant, and if you don't want to have children, you're saying you should not have sex.
No, I'm saying if you don't want to take the time to learn the responsibility that comes with having sex and how to avoid creating human life and being responsible for the creation of that life and avoiding a bad decision, because ultimately
you think that people are just-
abortion has moral consequences.
What?
It's bad. I mean, it's an evil act.
What moral consequences?
Because life is a miracle. Life is a gift.
What moral consequences?
Life is precious. All life
You
is
are
precious.
not answering
Life is
the
a gift.
question.
Are you getting though? What consequence?
What moral
What consequence
consequences?
is morally wrong?
The moral consequences, I mean, ask people who have gotten abortions. Most of them,
I'm asking you. You are making this claim. Expand on it.
I know many people that have had abortions and they seem fine.
And they seem fine because they're probably medicated and they tell you things are fine, but you know that they're not really fine.
That is pure conjecture.
Okay.
I mean, it's the way things really are.
It's not.
Okay.
Yeah, people are
can't
medicated
even
to
a moral consequence.
to believe a moral consequence
It's not
is
a
literally
consequence, it's a
the fact that it's you're violating natural law. Human beings are not God.
What? You're violating natural law? What is natural law?
Natural law is the fact that you're not God. You cannot play God. You don't have the same.
So this is just a backdoor for you to insert your religious morality.
I'm so fucking cute, bitch. I'm so fucking cute.